Let me take you back a year, 2 years, when we were having a discussion every couple of months on whether we should extend unemployment benefits to those who could not find work. And we extended it for far longer than we traditionally had because there were people...
I think we gave 73 weeks.
Exactly, a very long period of time. I mean, these are people who were having a very hard time finding work over a longer than a year search. But eventually we lost out on that. Back in December, they decided we're not going to extend it for many people, and many people lost their benefits. 1.3 million just in that particular cut lost their benefits. And the argument at the time was, these people are receiving government money. They don't have an incentive to find work. If we cut the money, then they'll get off their lazy asses and they'll go find jobs. Well, unfortunately for the people who were making that argument, that is the sort of assertion that can be checked up on. We have data, and so we're going to look at how that worked out. Now, several months later, let's bring up this chart showing the people who had been cut off from unemployment benefits. 1/4 found a job in that time. Half are still looking unsuccessfully for a job, and another more than a quarter have stopped looking for work. And so maybe if you are a conservative who wanted them cut off, who thought that that would put a boot in their ass to go out and get a job, maybe this seems like good information to you. It doesn't to me. It looks like people who were on those unemployment benefits legitimately could not find work, and work did not magically appear because now they have a few $1,000s less per month to pay for food and transportation.
Yeah, I mean, the data here is sort of undeniable, and what makes it worse is that the longer you're unemployed, the worse it is. Once you've been unemployed longer than 6 months...
Bring that up, actually, that can illustrate his point.
The numbers go down even more, and you're even less likely to work.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly what Ben said there. You see that it's very slightly getting better over the course of between about 2010 to 2014, but you at all points have a much harder time finding work if you've been looking for it for more than 6 months. There's a number of reasons why that could be true.
And by the way, the uptick real quick on the 6 months or less is that's just the economy getting better.
Exactly, yeah. We have seen some, I mean, not necessarily in wages or anything, but we've seen the unemployment rate has gone down. But yeah, I mean, this is just terrible information, and there are consequences to this as well. Let's bring up this third graphic here. This is what happens when you cut off benefits to the long-term unemployed. You see a poverty spike. You see many, 1/3, turning to government assistance, which apparently the whole idea was to get them off of it. They go to a different form of it, and 90% become, to some extent, a burden, if a justifiable one, on their family members, or they have to take money prematurely out of retirement and savings accounts. And understand that when you're talking about the billions of dollars that have been saved by not giving the money to them, that is money that would have been spent locally. Every single dollar of that would have been spent in their communities and has not been spent, which has a negative consequence on the economy.
Yeah, it's $5.4 billion in support overall. And like, for example, Illinois, that's just $25 million in Illinois that they, every week, that Illinois doesn't get generated into the economy. Because again, these people aren't, they're not in the 1%. They're not the elite rich who earn their money and do dick with it, right?
Oh, I could put more in a Tesla.
Right, totally.
Probably not.
Yeah, what stock should we buy this week, sweetie? No, they take the money.
Let's do gold this time. Just buy some gold.
Well, they get the money and then they go to buy stuff.
Yeah,
to feed their families and to get.
And that's how the economy works.
Yeah, that's really how this great. You guys love capitalism so much. That's how it works. I find it really weird about the longer people have been unemployed, and whether I'm curious whether that, as more and more people turn away and stop participating in the program entirely, they stop looking for work. They get so discouraged. But also the long-term unemployed, people who've been unemployed longer than 6 months, they're slightly more educated than the broader population of job seekers. So the long-term unemployed are well-educated people.
I would imagine older, and I imagine that there is probably some amount of discrimination against people who are older. You want younger,
and I wonder if there's
workers.
also discrimination of like, why haven't you worked in 9 months?
Exactly. It seems to imply something. I mean, look at how Republicans in Congress are treating them. They were casting aspersions about their work ethic and things like that. Is it impossible to believe that a business owner would feel the same way? And so the basic argument, as I said, was that this will force them to go work, but that is not necessarily the case. And if you want to get into sort of psychological incentives to do something or monetary incentives, there are those who believe that when they were on the assistance, you were required to show the work you were doing to try to find jobs at that point. Now that you're cut off, you don't have that incentive every week to show that you've been applying to places. And so perversely, this might have also made it less likely that people would seek out work.
And then we're just leaving out the being a dick part. Like
Yes.
these are people who need money. They need money to pay their bills. They need money not to be stressed out. They need money to take care of their families. And,
Exactly.
And people, and we're supposed to look out for those people. It's just, that's what I think America's supposed to do. I get it that you wouldn't want to do it long term if it meant that they were like, oh, I'll just take this $1,200 every 2 weeks and I'll do nothing.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened before. You've done nothing except take the money from them and take the money from the local communities where they would have spent the money. It's just, it's so dumb. It's not only mean, it's dumb.